We are Buckhorn. We are NC.
On Thursday night, the Royals and Yankees hooked up for a 4-game series. And in Game 1, with Mariano Rivera unavailable, the Royals rallied in the 9th inning, but the Yankee bullpen hung on to take Game 1 4-3. On Friday, the Royals used a Billy Butler home run. The Yankees played great defense, and the Royals won Game 2 4-3. And last night was the Alex Rodriguez show, hitting his 602nd, 603rd, and 604th career home runs in an 8-3 New York win. Today, the Royals hope for a split as Brian Bullington continues his quest for big league win number 1. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. The extreme heat has passed, at least for now, and we have a beautiful summer day in Kansas City this afternoon as the Royals' longest homestand continues. They'll play their final game of the year against the New York Yankees. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and we talked about it last night. Today, we will give you the second third of the season list, some of the light moments of the second third of the season. This season can be so long, so tense, a lot of pressure for these guys, a lot of eyes watching. Every now and then you need to have a little bit of fun, right?
And you really do, and I think you got to be blessed to have guys in your clubhouse that can really keep things light. And I had guys like Amos Sotis, Hal McRae, but really the number one guy that kept us loose, especially in hot August, was John Mayberry.
Well, maybe we need to bring in Big John sometime to look at some of the finalists in the list. And by the way, before you start sending in your letters and your emails, we live with the Royals every day. We talk about them more than anyone else. So this list is about opponents of the Royals. And we'll check out the list when we come back. And by the Missouri Lottery. Okay, this is how the list works if you're new to this. We've divided the season into thirds, 54 games roughly, and we pick some of the goofiest swings, goofiest plays. I pick one, Frank picks one, we agree on one, and with that being said, let's check out the first round winners. Let's go back and review the first third of the season. I picked Mike Lowell's swing against Zach Greinke. Frank picked a Casey Kochman swing against Zach Greinke, and we agreed on this Grady Sizemore swing against Brian Bannister. Now, here is the list from round number 2. We'll begin with some swings, if that's what you want to call them.
Well, they're very unique swings, and this is when a pitcher really makes you totally fool at the plate, and it's interesting to watch on the course of a game, and it gives us a little bit more to be entertained with.
Not the best swings you'll ever see. They're not going to make highlight reels, but swings by major leaguers. Then Fan plays. This guy took a ground rule double off the forehead in Atlanta. This Royals fan with some worn out tennis shoes did not factor in the wet concrete. This fan in Oakland tried to catch a ball with his beer. He ended up with neither. But that was an A's fan. Royals fan knows how to get it done. He caught the ball with his beer. Tarp work in Washington. Guy got swallowed up by the tarp, and Frank, we always compliment the tarp work of the Royals grounds crew.
Well, we have the best ground crew in the world, I think, Ryan. These guys are really in tune to what's going on, and they get that tarp out in time before all the high winds come.
That was Tricky Ricky, by the way, and now we'll take a look at some defensive plays. This is Eric Ibar of the Angels against the Royals. And in Game 2 of this series, Billy Butler's home run is off the foul pole and then off of Austin Kern's forehead. So there, you've got it. We'll give you our finalists. Frank, let's begin with you.
Well, I'm going to go with Johnny Cueto as my finalist. It's unfair that he's a pitcher, but he's got a bat in his hand, so I'm going to go with him.
I'm going to go with Alex Rios, who's having a great year. Anytime you can get a swing like this from him, it has to make the list. And we agree this time around on Austin Kearns. That's going to cost him some money in kangaroo court.
Well, I think so, Ryan. How you mean he just agreed? This ball is out of the ballpark. He's given up on it. He has no clue this ball's going to hit the foul pole and come back to him.
So there you go, our second round finalists. Baseball is next. Brian Bullington faces the New York Yankees for the first time, hoping for his first Major League win. It's the Royals and the Yankees, and the first pitch is next. Almost. Almost. And we are underway. Brian Bullington throwing a strike to Derek Jeter as Bullington faces the Yankees for the first time in his career. And on the second pitch of the game, gets a ground ball to Yuniesky Betancourt. So a key for him, keeping the ball down, hoping for ground balls. And he's off to a good start. Here's the Yankees lineup tonight, presented by M&I Bank, or this afternoon. So Jeter, Swisher, and Teixeira. Alex Rodriguez with his 3 home runs last night, followed by Robinson Cano, who has just 2 hits in the series so far. Lance Berkman will be the designated hitter. And then Curtis Granderson, Brett Gardner, and the catcher is Francisco Cervelli. Jorge Posada is not in the lineup. First pitch swinging, Nick Swisher into center field. And Blanco is there, so 3 pitches and 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Kia report on Brian Bullington.
Well, Brian was impressive in his first start, Brian. First quality start since 08. But one of 9 pitches to start for the Royals this season. That tells you a lot about the injuries that they've had so far in their pitching staff. And the key today, and you mentioned it earlier, he's got to get the sinker ball down, keep the ball out of the air.
So Teixeira bats with 2 outs and nobody on. Teixeira has only driven in 1 run in the series, but he has scored 3 times, and that puts him on top of the American League with 86 runs scored this year. And when the Royals were in New York last month, he scored 8 runs in the 4-game series. Good looking slider, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is career game number 20 for Brian Bullington and his 7th start. '84 beautiful degrees. We started at 1:10 Central Daylight Time. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot at KCI. And now a broken bat, Squibb, is wide of third base. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes to Teixeira. In his start on Tuesday at the Angels, Brian Bullington had his first major league quality game, if you will, going 6 innings and giving up 3 runs on 5 hits, and took the loss as Royals only scored 1 run. That was his first major league start since 2008. In fact, the Royals in that game only came up with 1 run on 5 hits. And Teixeira strikes out, and it's a great start for Brian Bullington. It feel good. Royals baseball comes to you from Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Now M&I Bank will show us the Royals lineup for this afternoon. Willie Bloomquist will bat second. Jason Kendall is out of the lineup. Bloomquist will be at third, so Wilson Betemeat will be the designated hitter. Great numbers against the Yankees this year and great numbers at Kauffman Stadium. Brian Pena is behind the plate, and on the mound for the Yankees is right-hander A.J. Burnett. Here's the Kia report.
Well, A.J. Ryan has really good stuff. He has better stuff than being 9-9 at this point. Very inconsistent. He's allowed the first run of a game in 15 of his 23 starts. So the key for the Royals today is to get out in front early and see what A.J. is going to bring to the table today.
Blanco is 2 out of 11 so far in this series and 0 for his last 7. And Francisco Cervelli, who plays with a lot of enthusiasm, smacking the glove, trying to get Burnett ready to go, and he misses outside with ball 1.
Well, you think a guy that's been around as long as A.J. has and had the success that he's had, that you wouldn't have to get him motivated. You know, one of the complaints this year has been the fact that his body language changes when guys get on base and when the team starts scoring runs. Rather than speeding the game up for himself into where he can control the situation, he kind of lets it get away from him. And where working with a younger guy who's high energy like Cervelli, maybe that's what he needs.
Lifted to center. Granderson was shallow, so he's back a few steps, and Blanco is out number 1. Yankees are having a very good year on defense so far. They have the second fewest errors in the American League. No errors in this series. Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher in the outfield. Alex Rodriguez back to third. He was the DH last night with Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. And the backup Francisco Cervelli is behind the plate.
You know, the Yankees defense, those guys really work at it, Ryan. They had a late game in Texas, got in late early in the morning on Thursday morning, and even though they didn't hit on the field, you know, there was Cano and Jeter and A-Rod. They're all out there taking ground balls, trying to get familiar with the ground and things like that. And I think that's a good indication that these guys, the professionalism of these guys and what they bring to the game.
Bloomquist with a 1-out base hit to right field. And Willie, who started game 1, he had 3 hits and a couple of RBIs, so that makes him 4 out of 5 in the series.
One thing Willie's been doing with his playing time, Ryan, is he's been trying to work the ball back through the middle of the right field. And you can see right there, when you hit a ball to right field on a line like that, your head's got to be right there on it, and you got to throw the bat head to the ball and let the ball travel. He did all 3 of those things very well. Now this is also an opportunity for him to take advantage of Burnett as far as being a base runner. He doesn't hold runners that well, and he's been exploited.
Willie has stolen 6, and he's been thrown out 4 times. And he's off with the first pitch to Butler. Cervelli's throw ends up in center field. Granderson is on that, and his throw is late. Runner at third with 1 out.
I really felt the Royals would try to exploit that stolen base potential early in the game, and with Billy's pinch to hitting a double play, the earlier you go, the better off you are. And Willie did a great job going head first, and not only that, but picking the ball up, knowing where the ball is. As a center fielder, when you see that guy break from first base, he already playing shallow, so as soon as that ball passes the hitter, you got to be on your horses coming in and try to make sure if there is an overthrow, that runner can't get up and move to third base.
It has to be a very small horse, though.
Oh, a Shetland pony, huh?
Yankees are going to bring the infield in, and Billy gets it over the infield and into the right field corner. So for the second night in a row, second game in a row, the Royals have a 1-0 lead in the first.
Well, this is what we talked about, Ryan, just getting ahead of A.J. early and trying to take him out of his game. And both Willie Bloomquist and Billy Butler stayed on balls away, and he had the head right on and got extended, let the ball got deep, and then they both had base hits to right field. Billy does a good job here of rounding the bag and then held up and came back to first base.
Well, if you like numbers and you go by the numbers, Wilson Betemit should have a great game today. He has been outstanding this year against the Yankees, hitting .440. And he's been outstanding this year at Kauffman Stadium, hitting .423. And he'll get half the day off as the Royals' designated hitter. Saved by Cervelli, 2 balls and no strikes. So Wilson Betemit has gone from a non-roster invitee to starting the year in AAA, where he had just okay numbers, really didn't do anything great. Called up because the Royals needed some versatility for the National League games. So now playing every day, mostly at third base, and he's the Royals' cleanup hitter. Jolted to center. The wind is blowing in, so that'll knock it down enough for Granderson to make the play. There were many outs on both sides, more for the Yankees than the Royals. Outs on the warning track last night, and that one was just short of the track. Wind is blowing in from the northeast. And now Alex Gordon with Butler at first base and 2 down. Alex batting 5th today. Kila Kaihue is not in the lineup. Grounded to the hole. Cano dives to his feet and throws out Alex. So the inning is over, but the Royals grab a 1-0 lead.
A lot of time on the pregame show today, the postgame show last night, talking about Alex Rodriguez, and I was asking Split about how he would approach a guy like A-Rod, and he said A-Rod just looks too comfortable right now, so you got to get in there. You don't necessarily have to hit him or knock him down, but you got to get in. Don't allow him to have leverage, and you've got to be able to pitch him away too and keep him off balance. That's the key right now, keeping him off balance and not allowing him to get too comfortable. I was mentioning to Split that the first time the Royals had somebody hit 3 homers against them in a game was Tony Oliva back in 1973, and Split's response, uh-oh, was it me? It was not. It was Mark Littell and Gene Garber, guys.
Well, just that first pitch to Rodriguez, get him to move his feet, and he does it again. And, you know, pitching inside isn't necessarily knocking a guy down, but as Split was telling Joel, you know, you get too comfortable in there, the feet are nice and solid in the batter's box. Into deep left center. Blanco is all the way back to the wall to make the catch. So Rodriguez didn't quite get enough of it, at least not today, as that wind continues to blow in from center field.
All right, you look at the pitches that were inside, they weren't fastballs. You know, you got 2 off-speed pitches inside and 1 fastball inside. And you take a look at these pitches from Fox Track. That's a breaking ball. That's a fastball. And there's another breaking ball. and now you throw another breaking ball down the middle of the plate. So you got to work your fastball in there a little bit better than that situation right there. You got 2 breaking balls on the inner half, then you leave a breaking ball middle in over the plate. That ball's going to get hit.
Well, the Yankees have come out swinging today. Robinson Cano is into left field, and there are 2 down. Today's number for our Take the Field sweepstakes is 37. If you'd like to win a pair of replica Royals jerseys, go to foxsportskansascity.com during today's game and enter the sweepstakes, including number 37. There's a jersey winner every game, and one fan will throw out the first pitch at next year's Fox Sports Kansas City jersey giveaway game. Frank, number 37 in Royals history.
Larry Gura, 76-77. I got that one from the truck.
Very nice.
Freddie Patek wore 37 for a little while before he switched to number 2, I believe.
Very nice. Lance Berkman drives it into right center field. Blanco is there, so some loud outs, but the Yankees are down in order in the second.
I don't know if they.
Good day to hit if you're going to hit the ball in the air. We had some impressive home runs at Kauffman Stadium last night, especially after the wind changed. And today's You Call It, presented by Sprint. We ask you, what do you think was the most impressive home run at Kauffman Stadium so far? Billy Butler against Felix Hernandez. That's a no-doubter. Vladimir Guerrero on a hanging breaking ball. Josh Hamilton to straightaway center field. That cleared everything. And then Alex Rodriguez. This is his 3rd home run into the upper level of the fountains. Pretty impressive list. And good research to go back and get those 4. So text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, a space. A for Butler, B for Guerrero, C for Hamilton, and D for Rodriguez. Standard text rates apply.
I know which one I'm going with.
Me too. Good fastball thrown by Aviles. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Royals run in the bottom of the 1st inning. Willie Bloomquist with a 1-out single. Stole second. Went to third on a throwing error by the catcher Cervelli and scored on Billy Butler's single. And Aviles is hit. And that's nothing new for Burnett. That's the 14th time this year he's hit a batter, and that leads the American League.
The first pitch started Avilas off, ran up and in on him, Ryan, and this is the same type pitch. It's got a little bit further inside, and Mike did a good job in moving away from this pitch and then turn into this pitch. And he had that little elbow pad, and it got most of that. So there was no damage done on that pitch. But that's kind of the area you kind of want the Royals to kind of go every now and then, you know. Just make sure the guy moves his feet a little bit, but you got to be able to pitch inside with your four-seam fastball and not throw that running fastball that continues to run. The four-seam fastball stays straight. You should be able to control it a little bit better and get more velocity on it, but you got to be able to pitch inside and outside with that pitch.
So Avilas at first for Mitch Meyer, who takes ball one. And A.J. Burnett has been described many times in his career as effectively wild. So he's not necessarily wild in that he's giving out a bunch of walks. I mean, he will walk his share. But he will do what he did to Avilas enough times to make a hitter uncomfortable, enough so that maybe they lose their aggressiveness at the plate. In addition to hitting 14 batters this year, he also has 11 wild pitches, which is the third most in the American League. So every now and then he's just going to lose the strike zone. Two balls, one strike.
And a pitcher like that will drive you absolutely crazy because you don't know, as a manager, you don't know what you're going to get when he goes out there. Pitching coach, you don't know what you're going to get. And when he's effectively wild, you don't know if it's going to continue or it's going to get better. And on the defense, you know, you keep runners on base and keep the defense under pressure with deep counts, and that is not an effective way to pitch also.
Avilas takes off, and Meyer grounds it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Let's check the early returns on the sprint you call it question. And, well, I think Frank and I agree with the 35%, correct?
Yes. There's nothing further in here than right there unless you go over the dry duck seats and up on the patio out there. I mean, this is like at the base of the scoreboard.
He cleared every wall we had to offer him. Kevin Shank says the only wall that remained was the Great Wall in China. There's the padded wall with the 410, and then a textured kind of a concrete brick wall, and then a plywood wall, and it cleared all 3. Avilas was leaning to second and was almost picked off. Just barely got the hand in front of the tag.
Well, and that should never happen on a 3-2 count. You're going to be running, but you can't get picked off in that situation there, and that would have really made Ned Yost unhappy to see Mike get picked off on a 3-2 count.
Whoa.
That's where that left-handed first baseman would have been able to get that tag in there a lot quicker.
Mitch Meyer is 0 for 9 in this series and 0 for his last 10. Avilas runs again, and Meyer up the right field line was out in front and hooks it foul. Royals were aggressive in the first inning. Willie Bloomquist singled with 1 out, and then on the very first pitch to Billy Butler, Willie took off, stole second, went to third on the air. There's another look at those 3 outfield walls in straightaway center field. And then there's a little concession area behind that. I think Mike Jacobs last year cleared all 3 of those walls, which can be a little bit dangerous if you're the fans because you don't see it coming.
I think Mike's ball hit actually on that side wall by the fountains and bounced up on the patio. That was one of the longest ones we've seen hit here.
Ball 4. So Mitch, even though he's been hitless in the series, he has walked 3 times. So Burnett has handed the Royals 2 base runners. He's hit a batter, walked a batter, And there are 2 on with nobody out.
Be interesting to see what approach Ned Yost takes right here, Brian. He's got a chance to add on some runs, but the last time he asked Brian Pena to sacrifice, he popped up to third base. Wasn't a very good attempt, so I'd be curious to see how he approaches this one.
Showing bunt and takes ball 1. That was a tough day for Brian at the plate. He struck out 3 times and popped up the bunt, and I would think in his mind, and thinking about his personality, he would love an opportunity to show the manager that he can be trusted with a bunt when he gets the sign.
Well, that's true, Ryan, but if he's bunting, he's got to square around a little bit earlier and get himself set to do it. He was a little late on the first one. I think that's a little too late for him. The ball's already on the way to the plate, and he doesn't have not given himself an opportunity to get in a good bunting position, and he get caught in the middle, and that's when you bunt the ball too hard.
Well, now we're seeing some of the body language from A.J. Burnett. He obviously isn't happy with the way he's throwing the ball, and he is wearing it all over his uniform. So Dave Island, the pitching coach, picks up on that. And go out there and try and get him refocused. There has really been no gray area for Burnett this year, even though he's wearing gray today. He's either been really good or really bad. Pena swings away and fouls it away. I think I saw some numbers this morning where when Burnett wins, his ERA is under 1, but when he loses, his ERA is something like up over 12.
I mean, he gives up a lot of runs when he loses.
Couldn't pull the trigger, and count goes to 2-2 on Brian Pena. Now Burnett thinking twice about the pitch from Cervelli, so he backs off the rubber and wants Cervelli to go through the signs again. Mike Aviles at second base, Mitch Meyer at first. And Pena grounds it right to Cano, down to his knees, so the feed is low to Jeter, but he bails out Cano, and the Yankees turn a double play.
It really strange how it to his right. He's got his right foot caught, didn't quite get it planted right, and tripped over his right foot. But Jeter, being as athletic as he is, was able to see how his right foot just didn't get that right foot out there, so he can make that feed. When he slid it out, the front toe got caught, and that took him down. But Jeter made up for it. But it's funny how he was asking Brian Pena to bunt. And then it goes to 2-0. He swings away. Then you think he may go back with the bunt, but he just went completely away from the bunt, and you got your double play.
He didn't swing at, which Yuniesky Betancourt now with Aviles at third and 2 down. And Uni hits a line drive right to Cano. So boy, that inning did turn around. 2 on, nobody out. The Royals fail to score. possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network, AT&T. Rethink possible. By Panera Bread. Explore a menu of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. Well, if we tried to pick up on a couple of themes from the first 2 innings for the Royals, it looks like they're going to be running when they get on base against A.J. Burnett. And from the Yankees side, they're up there to swing against Brian Bullington, normally a team that takes a lot of pitches and just tries to grind down the starting pitcher and get to the bullpen. That has not been the case today. Only one Yankees hitter has seen more than 4 pitches in a plate appearance. 3 balls, 1 strike on Curtis Granderson. He had one of the 5 home runs for the Yankees last night. Billy Butler gets a hop off to his left hip and over to Bullington for the out. So Brian Bullington has retired the first 7. Royals have an off day tomorrow, and then on Tuesday begin a 3-game series with the Cleveland Indians. And the first 20,000 fans that night will receive the winning fan vote t-shirt presented by Sprint. This will be the 6th of 7 t-shirt Tuesdays. And if you'd like to come out, you can get your tickets right now at Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. Yeah, he's lucky he's out there.
You want a piece of him?
Not only is he out there, do you see him turn away? 2 balls and no strikes on Brett Gardner. Two and 1. Oh, there's a TV screen right behind him. He's on there. And I would think a guy like that would want to look at himself, wouldn't he?
Why was that big?
Yeah. I mean, you don't get that big just because you feel like getting that big, right?
You don't walk around with your shirt off either unless
right.
you want to show it off, right?
Brian Bullington strikes out his second, and he has retired the first 8.
And one thing that we know that Brian has that good slider, and Chevrolet brings us Fox tracks, and you can see that slider go down underneath his swing. And if you can get that pitch in the right height, the right zone, lefties will chase, and that's what made Zach Greinke the strikeout pitcher that he is.
So 2 down to Francisco Cervelli. He started the first game on Thursday and was 0 for 4. Jorge Posada has caught the last 2 games. And Cervelli in the bottom of the first today with a throwing error helped the Royals score their run. Willie Bloomquist stealing second. The throw was high and went into center field. Willie went to third and came home on Billy Butler's base hit. Two balls, 1 strike.
That's where Brian really hits. Got a lot of ground balls today, Ryan. But if he stays down there, he will get some. I like his poise today. I mean, he really looks like a pitcher on the mound. He's not rushing. He looks relaxed, and he just kind of looks fluid when he's coming to the plate. And he's a real good athlete. You know, he's one of the few guys that when he got to cover first base, he gets there.
Broken bat. Betancourt charges, and the inning is over. Brian Bullington with a 1-0 lead has 3 perfect innings. Okay, all right. To Kansas, and Kevin has volunteered with Big Brothers Big Sisters for more than 10 years, specifically with the organization's largest fundraiser, Bowl for Kids' Sake. And for the past 7 years, Kevin has become the top fundraiser, raising over $100,000. And today, enjoying the game from the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat. 1-0 Royals on Billy Butler's first inning single. Gregor Blanco thought about bunting. He flied out to center field in the first inning. Willie Bloomquist will be next, and then Billy Butler.
Now with the infield in on both corners, the second baseman in, about halfway will be double play depth for Blanco in case of the drag bunt. You think he probably want to try to work his balls and try not to hit so many fly balls. I think that'll work definitely to his advantage.
No balls, 2 strikes. Down on 3 pitches, and A.J. Burnett strikes out his first.
You can see it, both these swings, Ryan, just long swings there. This ball is down inside and off the plate. It's that hard slider, and you can see the swing for Blanco, how long it is. And that's what you kind of, if you're going to choke up, you got to really keep your swing short. You can't have that big swing and just want to try to hit line drives and hit the ball hard on the ground.
The whole reason for choking up is to shorten your swing.
Right.
Or it should be, at least.
You know, shorten the swing, a little bit of back control, but you gotta swing down through the ball, and you don't want to try to swing up, and that just makes your swing longer, and you hit a lot of lazy fly balls.
One and one to Willie Bloomquist, who singled, stole second, went to third on an error, and scored on Billy Butler's base hit to right field. Now Willie rather, thinking about dropping one down. He did not go around, according to Gary Cedarstrom, and it is 2-1. So Willie, in just 2 games against the Yankees, has 4 hits and 5 at-bats. Royals have been very careful with where they play Willie Bloomquist. Remember, he had surgery on both knees last offseason. He has now started his last 2 games on the infield, but that's only 9 starts as an infielder and 24 in the outfield. So they'd rather have him standing around on the grass than on the infield dirt. And now starting to see more time on the infield. He is a natural infielder.
He's done a real good job coming in to pinch run, and when he's in there, he hasn't hesitated about stealing bases. And the one thing you haven't seen him slide his feet first, and maybe that's an indication of the knees themselves. Everything's been head first.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Burnett.
AJ, that's just a backup slider right there. It really didn't go. And I'm sorry, that's a knuckle curveball. You see that finger go up like that, Ryan? And the ball backs up. If you overthrow it, it doesn't go down away. That one went back into Willie, backed up on him, and he couldn't swing at it.
A knuckle curveball that he learned from his grandfather when he was 14 years old. Outside to Billy Butler. He singled up the right field line in the first inning to bring in Bloomquist.
Is there a difference between a curveball and a knuckle curveball?
Just by the way that index finger.
But the ball doesn't break any different, though, does it?
I think if I'm right, and I could very well be wrong, that maybe the knuckle curveball isn't quite as hard, but it has more bite straight down. Sometimes it is referred to as a spike curveball, and if you think about spiking a ball, you're throwing it straight down. So I think the purpose is a quicker bite, more as a rolling curveball that just gradually breaks down. Right to Nick Swisher in right field, and the Royals are down in order in the third. One to nothing Royals to the top of the fourth inning. The Yankees are without a single base runner in the first three against Brian Bullington. So 9 up, 9 down, including a ground ball to short from Derek Jeter on the second pitch of the game, and that really set the tone as far as what the Yankees are going to try and do against Bullington. They're going to swing early. Nice play. Bloomquist in the hole to throw out Jeter.
You're right, Ryan. That was a very good play. And Willie catches this ball actually behind him. He plays his hop. You see the angle he takes back toward the outfield. This ball is actually by him when he catches it, but he didn't try to turn inside. He went right around with this catch, took his, and get back on top. And that way he can get over the top and throw a better pitch, better throw to first base. If he turns on the inside, that arm dropped, and he might throw a sinker over there to first base.
And now Nick Swisher. He swung at the first pitch he saw from Bullington in the first inning and flied out to center field. Including switch hitters, 5 of the 9 in the Yankees lineup bat from the left side. And Frank, you and I talked about this in Anaheim, that Bullington with his arm angle and that slider is going to present some problems for a right-hand batter, but lefties are going to get a pretty good look at it. And if you break down what he's done in his career, righties versus lefties, there is no comparison. Three balls, one strike.
He could probably change some things for himself, Ryan, if he uses his slider a little bit more to the lefties, and that would help him a little bit. But throwing that fastball makes it difficult if you keep it out over the middle of the plate.
Here's the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Bullington up to 94, Burnett 96. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Hit hard to left field. Alex is back and makes a catch. For a moment, looked like he was going to shift his hips and move in the other direction, but thought otherwise and makes the play. The NFL is back with 2 Fox preseason specials beginning on Thursday as Tom Brady and the Patriots take on the Falcons. And then on Friday, the Eagles begin life without Donovan McNabb. And they take on Ocho Cinco, T.O. and the Bengals. Both games start at 7 p.m. in high definition, only on Fox. That's the second broken bat for Teixeira in his 2 plate appearances. He is out, and Brian Bullington has 4 perfect innings. Royals scored in the bottom of the first on Billy Butler's base hit to score Willie Bloomquist. Wilson Betemeet hit one into the wind to straightaway center field in the first inning. Caught by Granderson right in front of the warning track. And even with that, Betemeet is 6 out of 11 in the series and has a home run. No balls and 2 strikes here against Burnett. Alex Gordon on deck, and then Mike Aviles.
I really thought Wilson Betemeet would be one of those guys right at the trade deadline that would be interesting to some of the teams, especially the National League team, because he can play so many different positions. He can pinch hit from both sides of the plate. But I thought he'd be one of those guys that the Royals would be listening to trade talks on.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And he's been around for a while.
He's a veteran guy, right?
His age might not necessarily imply that Betemeet has been around. He is 28 years old, but he got to the big leagues in 2001 as a 19-year-old.
So when you look at Alex and Mitch and Aviles and all those guys, you say, wow.
Yeah, if you didn't know any better, you think he would kind of came up the same time they did, maybe a year or 2 before.
That is true.
But truth be told, all of those guys were in high school when Betemeet got to the big leagues, or at least finishing up high school.
One thing Burnett's been doing with these lefties with 2 strikes, he's been trying to come down and in with that slider, and Wilson was looking for it that time. It's probably ball 4 that he swung at, but when you're looking for a pitch, sometimes it's hard to hold up.
And the knuckle curve down and in. Third strikeout for Burnett. Do you think you are the ultimate Royals super fan? Well, this Wednesday at 7:10, you have a chance to win that title. The Royals take on Cleveland. There will also be Royals trivia, a costume contest, and much more. It's also Buck Night. Specials include hot dogs, small Pepsi drinks, peanuts, and Twinkies for just $1 each. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS. And a couple of good super fan candidates there. We've been calling Chris on the left, Royals super fan. He's got the cape. Follows the Royals all around the country. Next to who I was calling Underoos guy. But he caught up with me before a game the other day and just bawled me out. He's Underoos guy. He goes, come on, I'm Royal Man.
He had his own name.
So apparently that's Royal Man. I've got to bring in a picture of me when I was 5 years old, and I dressed up as Batman, and it was almost exactly the same as that guy's outfit, except
I did see that picture.
Yeah.
You brought it in one day.
I had the Batman logo instead of the KC. One ball, two strikes on Alex. Alex lost a base hit on a great play by Robinson Cano, diving in the hole on the right side in the first.
Well, that's one thing you see when you see real good defense. It's really a pleasure to watch, and just so uniform when you watch the game. And this is when guys who are just coming into the big leagues. This is when you pay attention to the guys who do play well defensively. And you look for things that you might be able to help you. And you may want to go and talk to those guys and ask them certain things about defense, but you don't get that kind of interaction. These are things that we used to do when we used to come up.
Knuckle curve again. That pitch is really working well for Burnett. Cervelli has to throw down to first. And now Burnett, after going the first 2 innings without a strikeout, has struck out 4 of the last 5.
Well, some serious spin on this ball going down. Quick Chip shows us through Fox Tracks that this pitch here is in a great area, Ryan. About knee high when it leaves his hands, and when the hitter commits, it's already below the knees and in the dirt.
Aviles was hit by a pitch first time up. Down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. So even though it stung, he will take that after falling behind. And then Mitch Meyer walked, and the Royals had 2 on with nobody out, but Burnett got his way out of the inning, and it all began with getting Brian Pena to ground into a double play. A little bit outside with the fastball, 1-1. He throws that pitch, and Mike, at times when he will stride away from the plate, it's going to be almost impossible for him to cover that pitch.
He won't cover that pitch at all. He needs the ball up a little bit more, and then it'd be more enticing to him. Usually down and away, he doesn't chase that a lot.
Staying away, and Cano goes to the middle and throws out Aviles to end the inning.
We made that play look so easy.
Started with 4 perfect innings today. He pitched well enough to win against the Angels in his last start. The Royals just didn't score any runs for him. And so far, they've given him just 1 run. They'd like to add on to that.
Well, you're right, Ryan. When you're pitching a good game against a team like the Yankees, you want some support. And I think offensively, the guys need to get it going. But scoring runs has been something that's been very difficult for the Royals to do since they made all the moves at the trade deadline.
And we talked about the importance of pitching inside to Alex Rodriguez after his 3 home runs last night. And Bullington starts inside to Rodriguez. And that pitch is a little bit low. Rodriguez, sorry Frank, on a different day with different conditions, might have hit another home run.
I agree with you. The wind was from left to right instead of right to left, and that made a huge difference. And I agree with what they're doing right here, pitching inside, but they're throwing every pitch inside. They're throwing the changeups and the curveballs inside, plus the fastballs inside. So you have to go away occasionally. Otherwise, he's going to be looking in there, and he's experienced enough that if you miss, he's going to be waiting on you. You still got to use the outer half of the plate.
He took Gregor Blanco to the wall in deepest left center field in the 2nd inning. That would have been a home run in 4 consecutive at-bats going back to last night. Challenged him with a fastball, and it's 3-2.
That's the one thing now, Ryan. They haven't thrown anything away at all, and even the first at-bat, nothing was away, and he ended up getting a breaking ball out over the plate and really squared it up. It didn't leave. But here, every pitch has been inside. Now you got a 3-2 count. This would be a great time to go away with a fastball. But they've been consistently saying, okay, we're going to just try to hem you up inside, but some hitters can look for that pitch. And if you miss, they're going to be sitting there waiting on you.
Chop to Betancourt. 1 away in the 5th inning. Today's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Most home runs against the Royals among active players. And as far as the first 2 go, that is also the most home runs ever against the Royals. Jim Thome with 45, Alex Rodriguez with 44, and then Manny Ramirez. So 13 in a row retired by Brian Bullington. And now ball 1 to Robinson Cano. He flied out to left field in the 2nd inning. And like most of the Yankees today, swinging very early. That was the first pitch to him then, and now he fouls away the 2nd pitch in this at-bat. And it's 1-1. Joel Goldberg.
You guys want to remind everybody, Real Royals Trivia next Friday. Had a good time over the weekend, and so Friday, get there early to Rivals. We'll take 3 contestants, lots of prizes, Royals Trivia questions. Won't have the Yankee theme like we did last week, but still all Royals answers. Hey, Frank, how about this one? It's about you now.
Oh, God.
Who'd you have the most RBIs against in your career? It's a pair of lefties. 13 apiece.
Don't know.
One was a Yankee, one was, for quite a while, a left-handed pitcher for the Red Sox.
Ron Guidry.
Ron Guidry be the lefty?
Yep, and the other one's a lefty, too.
What team?
Red Sox when you faced him.
Oh, boy. Bruce Hurst?
You got it.
Nice.
Now, that's not the format.
What does Frank win?
Frank wins congratulations, and as Kevin Shank will say, a Fox Sports Kansas City t-shirt.
I've got one back here in the closet. I'll take it with me.
Okay, there you go. That's the quickest we've ever delivered a prize. Now, that's not how it works. Usually there's 4 multiple choice, but I know that Frank isn't good with the trivia about himself. So I wanted to help you out with the Yankees, Red Sox, and those were probably the 2 guys that you faced a lot. 4 homers against each of them.
Thank you, Joel.
You hit him.
Ron Guidry, 4 bombs. Yeah, I'll take that.
But you owned Bruce Hurst.
Well, that was probably all 4 of them in Boston, too.
Hit 400 against Bruce Hurst and 45 at bats.
I had to get the average somewhere. Yep.
So you're saying that the 259 against Guidry evened it out?
Yeah, it got to be average. I'm in that 255 to 259 range.
Frank, did you hear he's just an average player?
I was just an average player.
I mean, Ryan, did you hear that Frank was just an average player? Sorry.
I just happened to be around for a long time.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I was an average hitter, but the other part. It's a little different.
That's the Yankees' first base runner, let alone hit, and it comes with one out in the 5th inning. So Cano fouled off 4 and gets a 1-out single.
I mean, this was a good pitch down, but, you know, for lefties down and in, they really collapsed on that pitch, and Brian left it there. But I tell you what, Brian, he is challenging the strike zone on first pitches, and that's what he's got to do. And if he can keep the balls like that, I'm sure he can live with them.
And as we point out, every time something like this happens, you wonder now how Bullington will respond to that. First of all, he was just knocking him down one after another, and he was doing so pitching exclusively out of the windup. Now he goes to the stretch for the first time, and it's against the 15th batter that he's faced today. And he's been around long enough to know that it's too early to be thinking about a no-hitter or a perfect game, but there's got to be a little bit of a letdown when that first runner reaches.
Well, I think it is too, Ryan. And I think right now, when it goes to the stretch, the one thing you have to want to stay away from is elevating the fastball. You want to stay in that same mode as the windup.
Butler fields a one-hopper out at second base. Bullington is there. Double play. Berkman goes down, got tangled up with Bullington. So the Yankees get their first runner, but thanks to the double play, Bullington has faced the minimum through 5 innings. Wow, that's going to hurt both of them. The end of the double play, this could have been an injury to both Brian Bullington and Lance Berkman.
Well, Billy did a real good job after he caught that ball getting inside to make a good throw down the Betancourt at shortstop. But you see that right foot went across the bag, and that's when you can get an Achilles injury. You can get your Achilles cut. And Bergman himself, that's when you get a twisted ankle or twisted knee, and he got banged up pretty good after that play. So we'll see how Bullington is when he comes back out, because that's his push-out foot.
Mitch Meyer, Brian Pena, Unievsky Betancourt in the 5th inning. A.J. Burnett has set down the last 8. So he wasn't all the way right early in the game, giving up a couple of hits and a run in the first, a hit batter and a walk in the second. But ever since the double play against Brian Pena, Burnett has pulled his game together, and the Royals are without a base runner. One walk, 4 strikeouts for Burnett, and at one point struck out 4 of 5 hitters. His one walk is against Mitch Meyer, and now both of his walks against Mitch Meyer. Here's today's AT&T trivia question. And with Alex Rodriguez hitting 3 home runs for the Yankees last night, we ask you, who was the only Royals player to hit 3 home runs in one game against the Yankees? Is there some sort of a movie character that wears that outfit? It seems like just in the last month or two, we've been seeing fans dressed up in those one-piece costumes. Remember, there was a guy in Anaheim, I want to say, right before the All-Star break, out in right field in the green outfit.
That alien look.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you have to do before you put that uniform on is you got to go to the gym. You got to tighten stuff up, you know.
Well, maybe that's why they cover their face as well. You know what I mean? The guy in the green appears to have some sort of a drooling issue.
He's doing a lot more yelling, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the one we saw on the road had a little zipper. You know, the guy could unzip it, he spit, and zip it back down. But I'm not quite sure.
Meyer was running, and Pena fouls it away. And those guys are pretty fired up. I mean, they just constantly on the move. This isn't Buck Night with those $1 Twinkies, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And this is not 103 degrees either.
Is that Tim Tebow? Did you see when he had that haircut at Broncos training camp?
He had the exact haircut.
Is that the Friar look, isn't it? Isn't that what the San Diego Padre, who's the swinging Friar?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say it again. At some point today, he checked himself out in the mirror before coming to the ballpark and said either out loud or to himself, "I'm good." Again, Pena hits it to Cano, and again, the Yankees turn it into a double play. This ball hit a little harder. 2 outs and nobody on. Also coming up during the homestand on Thursday, another Inc. College Night. It's the Royals and the Indians at 7:10. College Night offers select tickets for high school and college students with a valid ID for just $7, plus food and beverage specials in the outfield plaza concession areas. Oh, the masks come off. Popped up. And it's Mark Teixeira being called off by Robinson Cano. Yuniesky Betancourt is out, and the Royals send just 3 to the plate in the 5th. Bullington, who did not allow a runner until 1 out in the 5th inning. Gave up a single to Robinson Cano, but then got Lance Berkman to ground into a double play. So he's faced the minimum through 5. Curtis Granderson takes a slider for strike 1 to begin the 6th inning. One ball, one strike. Granderson grounded out to first in the 3rd.
Got a nice pitch count going right at 60 pitches.
2 balls, 1 strike. Starting to get the ball down more. He only got 1 ground ball out in the first 2 innings, but now 6 over the last 3.
And this is a real big inning here for him, Ryan. He's going into the 6th inning, and even though the pitch count is not high, in your mind you're getting deep in the game, and you got to try to stay consistent, try to keep minimizing your pitches, and make it 1 more inning.
Strikes out his 3rd. Pena flips it down to Butler to complete the strikeout.
This is what I noticed in his last start is how good his slider is, and this is what you get a real good idea here when he wants to use it for a strikeout pitch. It throws a little bit harder and gets it down to the back leg of the left-handed hitters, and the left-handers having a hard time laying off of it.
He struck out Brett Gardner with that same pitch in the 3rd inning. A little bit inside for ball 1. So one of the keys at the beginning of the game for Bullington was to keep the ball down, get ground ball outs as opposed to fly ball outs. Well, the wind is blowing in, so this is not the worst day if the Yankees are going to hit the ball in the air, as long as they don't get all of it. Alex Rodriguez may have lost a home run because of the ballpark and because of the wind in the 2nd inning. But again, just 1 ground ball out in the first 2 innings. And then Bullington got 2 ground ball outs in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, all 3 in the 5th. So kind of reversing the trend from his start on Tuesday at the Angels, where he started off by doing a good job of keeping the ball down, but then in the 5th and 6th innings started to get the ball up. That is through the left side. A base hit for Gardner with 1 out. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White and Joel Goldberg with producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton and Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. And our technical director is Richard Harlan, the Rocket, who will be celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And because of that, the Royals are going to take the day off. So happy birthday, Rocket. Well, a few things went wrong there. First of all, the Yankees weren't running. And second of all, either that ball got away from Bullington or he wasn't ready to pitch out.
Well, I tell you what, home plate umpire is saying, boy, if you don't catch that, that's right in my face. I mean, you got to get that ball out there on the pitch out. You really got to work the ball out. That's you don't want to throw it over the plate.
And a good idea to pitch out. Even with all of their power, the Yankees will do whatever they can to tie this game. And Brett Gardner has 33 stolen bases this year, and one of those in this series. He's running. Pitches inside. Pena's throw is right on the bag.
It's a good pitch to handle. It's up. He don't have to worry about reaching for it, and And Gardner, I mean, I tell you what, he had a good jump on this, but Yunieski did a good job of getting that foot in there. And you watch where his foot goes, and he's going head first. And when you go head first, you don't really have control of what's going on with the upper body. And without that foot being in there, he might have been safe. I don't think that was intentional. I think it just happened to be there after the throw went to the first base side of the bag.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey.
I don't think that was intentional or anything like that, because infielder wouldn't do something like that. I agree with you.
That definitely happened to Chris Getz in L.A. So when he went in the head first, Ibar got his foot in there, and you can see right there, if he had control of his arms, he could have tried to lift up over his foot, but he went right into his foot. So that's why I said if you can get in there and get in there early, you can kind of control what a head first slider does with his hands.
That's a completely different play if he's going in feet first.
Yes, it is. Then Uni's probably wondering what happened to my ankle.
I mean, if you're going to try that, you want to be pretty convinced that this is a head first sliding runner.
Yes, but I would never try to do it with my feet.
Through 6 innings, Brian Bullington has faced the minimum. .com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. And we welcome you to historic Hannibal, often known as America's hometown. Hannibal strives to keep the days of Mark Twain alive. You can explore his famous boyhood home and 2 museums, and make sure to take a ride on the Mark Twain riverboats. To learn more, go to visitmo.com. Brian Bullington still going for his first major league win, and trying to do so in his first ever appearance against the New York Yankees. He has given up 2 singles, none until 1 out in the 5th inning. And thanks to a double play and a runner caught stealing, he has faced the minimum through 6 innings. Top of the order for the Royals. And a fastball is fouled away by Gregor Blanco. The Royals' run came in the bottom of the 1st inning. Willie Bloomquist scored on Billy Butler's base hit. And then the Royals had a great opportunity in the 2nd inning with 2 on and nobody out. But since the 2nd inning, the Royals have 1 base runner against A.J. Burnett. Blanco has flied to center and struck out, and now 0 for his last 9. Two balls, 1 strike.
He did a better job of laying off the ball down there that time, Ryan, but the double play really is taking the Royals out of any scoring opportunity that they would have had.
Both double plays hit into by Brian Pena in the 2nd and 5th innings. Past Rodriguez, past Jeter, and into left field. Leadoff man on for the Royals in the 6th.
And that's what I talked about with Blanco, Ryan, is that with the infield, you know, they all kind of give up some ground when he comes up. And that ball wasn't hit hard, but just well placed with Jeter playing in more like in the double play mode. Then he gets a base hit to left field. So if he can get the ball on the ground like that and hit it consistently on the ground, with the infielders playing out of position until 2 strikes, getting himself a better chance to get base hits.
And now we'll see if he runs. Willie Bloomquist stole a base in the first inning, and the Royals have been running more than that today. They have started the runner several times, but runner had to go back because of a foul ball.
Well, you know, we really do need him to steal his base here, Ryan. That would definitely give me the Fox Hot Watch thing today. Let's see if any fans voted along with us today. Now I feel pretty confident. If Willie can do it, I think he can do it.
Well, he's 5 for 5 since joining the Royals.
Well, let's see how Willie works. Willie should give him an opportunity to steal. He should try to take a strike and let him go early in the count.
Royals did not have a stolen base in the first game of the series, but then they had 4 on Friday, winning that game. And then no stolen bases last night. 1 so far today. Willie fouls it back to the screen, 0-1. Willie singled, stole second, went to third on an error, scored on Billy Butler's base hit. Francisco Cervelli's throw going into center field, so he helped the Royals score the run. It was not an unearned run, with the base hit from Butler and the fly ball from Betemeet, but got the Royals 90 feet closer thanks to the throwing error, and the only error committed by the Yankees in the series, and only their 50th of the season. Only Minnesota has fewer errors in the AL than the Yankees. Not running, and Willie pops it up. Granderson comes up with the sunglasses on, and that's the first out. All right, let's answer today's AT&T trivia question. Who are the only Royals players to hit 3 home runs in one game versus the Yankees? We'll give you a hint. 1 was during the regular season, 1 was during the postseason. And there you have it. Now, the Bo Jackson one, was that the famous Bo Jackson Deion Sanders game? When at the time both guys were playing multiple sports and they were just kind of going after each other all game. There's Deion in center field. There's home run number 2. And that's a long way. That home run, as Billy lines to second, and luckily Cano throws it away. And now Blanco, after the ball gets away from Cervelli, is going to end up at second base, now trying for third. That's a break for the Royals, because a good throw means this inning is over. But the way it turns out, Blanco isn't doubled off. He somehow goes from first to third base.
Well, Cano makes a nice play on Billy on this backhand. It just didn't wait long enough to get that good angle to first base. And Blanco did a great job, recognized this ball was going to get away. You can see Jeter said, don't throw, but you still got to block that ball and make sure it doesn't get to the outfield.
So there are 2 errors on the play. And finally, A.J. Burnett says, hey, let's stop throwing this ball around.
Well, you got the ball running all over the place, and somebody's got to call off the jam at some point. You know, Cano makes a nice play and then tries a quick throw to first, but Teixeira couldn't get on the other side of Blanco to try to stop this ball. But Blanco did a great job recognizing coming off the screen in front of the Royals dugout and goes down to second base. But that throw to Jeter, you know, that's where you got to, as an infielder, you just got to block that ball. You just can't let that ball get by you into the outfield.
And he wasn't screened by the runner. He was in front of Blanco.
Right. I mean, if you don't have a play, block the ball.
So the first error goes to Cano. That got Blanco to second base. And the second error goes to Cervelli, his second of the game, and that's how Blanco gets to third. 1-1 on Wilson Betemit. So we're just talking about how the Yankees have committed only one error in this series, and now 2 on 1 play. So this is bonus time for the Royals, as the inning should be over. Betemit goes after a breaking ball in the dirt. It's 1-2.
No, this inning really could have been a little different too. Blanco led off with a base hit, and Willie didn't really give him a chance to steal that base. And if he could have been a little more patient, he swung at the first 2 pitches that were thrown to him. If he could have been a little more patient, let him try to steal that base, get him over, then this inning could have been a lot different.
Burnett pumps his fist as he gets around the 2 errors, and it's still a 1-0 game. Yeah. Through 6 innings, he did not allow a base runner until 1 out in the 5th. The only run of the game coming from Billy Butler's base hit in the bottom of the 1st inning. And as Frank predicted, if you're going to get to A.J. Burnett, you want to get him early, and the Royals did. They only got 1 run, and now Burnett has given up only 1 hit since the 1st inning. Jeter, Swisher, and Teixeira in the 7th inning. Jeter is grounded out to short and grounded out to third. Currently tied for 36th on the all-time hit list with 2,884. And he hits another ground ball to the left side. Willie Bloomquist throws him out. Jeter is tied with Zach Wheat. After the Indians come to town for 3, the Chicago White Sox will be here next weekend. And that series kicks off on a Friday night at 7:10. We hope you'll come out and then stick around for another new and improved Fireworks Friday presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee, and a home run hitting performance by some of the best slow pitch softball hitters, the Long Haul Bombers. By the way, for the record, even with all of the rain delays on Friday, the Royals still put on a fireworks show. Nick Swisher pops out to second base. He is 0 for 3, and there are 2 down in the 7th inning. In fact, for the fans that remained, and I'm sure they figured as late as it was, and with all the rain, that there was not going to be a fireworks show. So many of the fans started making their way up to the concourse, and then all of a sudden the fireworks went off, and here they came back down again. It was a good night for the Royals with a win over the Yankees, and the fans still got the fireworks, even though technically it was the following day. Mark Teixeira is 0 for 2 with a couple of cracked bats. He broke a bat in the middle of his at bat in the first inning, and then eventually struck out, and then broke his bat and fouled out to third in the fourth. Center field, deep into the wind, and Blanco is there, has to play it off to the side because of the sun, and now through 7 innings Bullington has faced the minimum. Join the game today, and Frank, which one is hoops and which one is yo-yo?
I have no clue.
That makes 2 of us. But the kids know. 1-0 Royals to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's the Panera American League scoreboard. Cleveland in front of Seattle by 6. Tampa Bay is in front of Baltimore. The Rays are 2 games back of the Yankees. Detroit is in front of Chicago. White Sox have dropped to 2 games back of Minnesota in the Central. And Minnesota is leading at Oakland. The Twins have won 3 straight. They're going for a sweep over the A's. Just getting underway. Boston is at Texas. The Rangers lead is 7.5 in the West. And that lead is over Los Angeles. They're just getting underway against Toronto. Ricky Romero pitching for the Blue Jays. He signed a 5-year contract extension yesterday. Hoops and yo-yo.
I don't know. Michael will know soon.
Soon he will. Pretty soon I'll be able to recite the entire family tree of hoops and yo-yo.
My granddaughter was a Wow Wow Wusby. That was her favorite cartoon. You have to watch it.
Wow Wow Wusby?
Yeah, you have to watch it from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the morning, over and over and over. And, you know, SpongeBob. Everybody likes SpongeBob.
One and one to Alex Gordon, who is struck out and grounded out. So we're in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1 run has scored, and the teams have combined for only 5 hits. And the Royals' run was way back in the 1st inning. Pulled to Teixeira, and he goes to the bag for the first out. And Alex is 0 for 3. So the difference right now is Billy Butler's base hit in the 1st inning that scored Willie Bloomquist. And the Royals have only 1 hit since the 1st inning. Mike Aviles was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. After that, Mitch Meyer walked. And after getting 1 in the 1st, the Royals had 2 on nobody out in the 2nd. But that inning turned around when A.J. Burnett got a ground ball double play from Brian Pena. A.J. Burnett trying to go 7 innings in back-to-back starts. He did that on Tuesday at Texas, and he was supposed to pitch a week ago today, but was scratched on Sunday because of back spasms, so they moved him back a couple of days and was fine. Gave up 3 runs in 7 innings to the Rangers. Took a no decision. Reaching, and a slow roller hit to the right side, and Cano goes to the hole and throws him out.
Let me take a look at this swing as Quick Trip brings us Fox Track. You can see his ball's out over the plate on a half, and just no body underneath him when he swung at this ball. It was all upper body, all arm, and that's why he was able to just hit it right on the end of the bat. And when Mike is stepping, the old phrase was in the bucket, so to speak. He's got to stay over the plate, and that ball's got to be just perfectly in the middle of the plate for him to square it up.
A line drive that hit a camera. Hopefully that was just a camera over on the first base side. And take your pick. Every camera over there is an expensive camera, especially the ones that have the HDs on them. You all right over there, Phil? Attaway, Phil. I don't think that was Phil's camera. I think there was one of those photographers there. It's that guy. Thanks, Phil. Mitch has walked twice. He's 0 for his last 10, but on base 4 times in this series by way of a walk. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last time the Royals faced A.J. Burnett, he was not pitching well at all. He was a couple of starts removed from an incident. Remember, he came out early and slammed his hands up against some clubhouse doors in the middle of the outing and cut both of his palms. Pitched 5 scoreless innings against the Royals last month and came out early because of a rain delay. And a pitcher who has had issues with injuries over the course of his career. He's been on the disabled list 10 times in his career, but none since 2007. Mitch strikes out. Burnett has 6. And at the end of 7, it's still 1-0 Royals. Brian Bullington has given up 2 singles, and that's it. He has faced the minimum through 7 innings. Back on Tuesday, he set a new career high with 6 innings pitched, and now today, a brand new one with 7 innings pitched. Only throwing a first pitch strike to 1/3 of the hitters so far, but that hasn't hurt him. The Yankees, especially very early in the game, very aggressive against Bullington. He got some quick outs. He only needed 16 pitches to get through the first 2 innings and 41 to get through the first 4. Alex Rodriguez has flied to deep center and grounded out to short, and he fouls it off to the right side. 1 ball, 1 strike. No runners for the Yankees until 1 out in the 5th inning when Robinson Cano singled to right, but then Lance Berkman grounded into a double play with 1 out in the 6th inning. Brett Gardner singled, but then he was caught stealing. Chopped to third and just wide of the bag.
But the one thing they're doing with A-Rod today is they just throwing everything inside, whether it's fastball, slider, or changeup, and no different than this at bat. And one pitch was called for inside; it was out over the plate. But you look here, as Taco Bell gives us Fox tracks, this ball is really in an area that he was really swinging well last night. So it wouldn't really hurt for them to go away on a couple pitches and just change his eye level.
Well, they meant to go away there. Pena was set up outside, and even though he missed, he threw it by Rodriguez, and Bullington has his 5th strikeout.
Well, you can see this fast. That's why I say the 4-seamer, Ryan, is one that you throw straight. If you don't get it good, it goes right back out and right into his swing, and I'm sure he was surprised he didn't hit this pitch.
And now Robinson Cano, who broke up the no-hitter with a single in the 5th inning, and he hits that one right to Aviles, 2 down in the 8th. Cano is 1 for 3. An off day for the Royals tomorrow, and then a 3-game series with the Indians begins on Tuesday. Zach Greinke will start for KC. And by the way, Zach Greinke missed the New York Yankees for a 3rd straight series. He missed the Yankees in New York in September last year and missed them when the Royals were there last month and missed them again in this series. Lance Berkman, who may have rolled his ankle last time up, is going to be replaced by Marcus Thames. Berkman grounding into a double play, and as he crossed first base, he landed on Brian Bullington's heel and was down for a while. He was able to limp off the field. 1-1 on Thames.
Well, you can watch the right foot of Berkman right on the heel of Bullington, and you can see him sort of limping after he went by him and just fell in a heap out on the grass down the right field line.
Over the outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The most difficult inning Brian Bullington has had is a 17-pitch inning. That's it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he's really shown a lot of poise today. He really looks like a pitcher on the mound. He looks like a polished pitcher on the mound, Ryan. He has an idea of what he wants to do, and he's getting it done.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. And with the pace he is working with, he looks like a guy who not only has good numbers, but feels good. Like he can't wait to throw his next pitch. And we'll do it again. "92 pitches for Bullington. He threw 91 in his last start. And he was mostly a starter at AAA Omaha this year, so he should be stretched out for an opportunity to go all 9 today. That is, of course, if he ends this inning quickly and he misses outside. 3-2 on Thames.
This is a real good pitch here, Ryan. A good 2-strike pitch just off the plate. Thames did a good job laying off of it. He's more of a fastball hitter, likes the ball middle in, up a little bit.
That's his first walk. And now Thames will come out, and Ramiro Pena will run for him at first. So Pena at first, 2 down, and now Curtis Granderson, who has grounded out to first and struck out. Bullington has struck out 5.
I think this is where you might want to watch Bullington a little closer, Ryan. Even with the pitch count getting closer to 100, I think that might be a magic number in Bob McClure and Ned Yost's mind. Your normal starters are somewhere around 110, but this is the furthest he's been. And having that walk right there, you just have to pay attention to that.
On his 96th pitch, a fly ball to left field. Alex reaches up, and it's 8 scoreless innings for Brian Bullington.
And the fans love it.
The most he's thrown this year is 94, so he's past that, and that includes Omaha. You got to let him go out, right? I mean,
I don't know. Brian ran up.
Stadium. Following the game on Boulevard Royals Live, Brian Bullington, does he join the list of Royals pitchers to win their first Major League game this year? And an un-Yankee-like inning, some fielding blunders for New York didn't hurt them, but we'll take a look back at that. Ned Yost postgame. Pretty sure we're going to hear from Brian Bullington and a preview of the Indians and Zach Greinke on Tuesday. That and more with Paul Splittorff coming up on Boulevard Royals Live.
Okay, thank you, Joel. On the other side, A.J. Burnett has given up 1 run, 3 hits, but he's down at 92 pitches. Burnett has struck out 6, walked a couple, hit a batter. Brian Pena lines it to center field right at Curtis Granderson. So Brian is 0 for 3, grounded into a couple of double plays before that line out. And now Yuniesky Betancourt. So the question becomes, do we see Brian Bullington in the top of the 9th inning? He has thrown 96 pitches, which is his season high, even if you include what he did at AAA Omaha. A strike to Betancourt. Uni is 0 for 2.
Well, as he's coming off the field, you can see Brian Pena go over that. And you don't usually see that when a pitcher's still in the ball game. You kind of let him do his own thing and go as far as he can go and congratulate him when it's all over. But you got a hot closer in the bullpen who's having a great year. And you also have a starting pitcher who is only 2 pitches over his maximum pitch limit, for even including Omaha. 94 is the most he's ever thrown. He's at 96. You can take him out there and go hitter by hitter in the bottom of the order, but they don't like to bring Joakim Soria in with men on base. But it would be a nice gesture if you could have him try to complete this ball game.
And if Soria gets loosened up here and you end up not needing him, you're not wasting him because tomorrow's an off day. Everybody gets a day off. I'd say run him out there.
I mean, when you look at where the Royals are in the standings, and this is an evaluation period, why not? I mean, you can take him. Just maybe if he doesn't have a long at bat, he should be fine.
Into shallow center field. Betancourt floats it over Jeter and has a 1-out hit. And that's just the second hit for the Royals since the first inning.
Well, that's kind of a moral victory for the Royals hitters also. A knuckle curveball right on the end of the bat. And like I say, Yunieski's an aggressive hitter, and he's looking to hit anything out over the plate. And he does a good job staying on this pitch and getting it out over the infield in the center field.
Now, just to be fair, I'm looking at the Royals' notes. And what is included is Bullington's last 5 appearances with Omaha, and there are a couple of starts where he went 94 pitches. So we don't have all the pitch counts for him, but we can say in his last 5 starts with Omaha and his 1 start with the Royals this year, he has not gone over 94 pitches. He made 20 appearances for the old Royals and had an ERA of 2.82, 8 wins and 2 losses, but no wins in his career at this level. Not just this year, ever.
Well, that might be an incentive for the manager to bring in the closer and try to get him that first victory. I mean, you hate to have him go out and not walk away with a victory. So I can see both sides of it.
Two balls and no strikes on Blanco. Singled in the 6th inning and then was involved in that wild play that Joel was just talking about with a couple of errors. Blanco was very close to being doubled off after a line drive to second base, but one throw went wild, another throw went wild, and instead of being doubled off, he somehow ended up at third base. Now trying to bunt his way on. 2 balls and 1 strike. This is nothing new for A.J. Burnett to be pitching well against the Royals. His career ERA before the game was 2.43, so that's gone down. The only team he has a better ERA against is the Yankees.
I think it's time for Unity to steal a base. Shortstop can't go a whole year without stealing a base, huh? What do you think about that?
We had a conversation with Jim Fregosi when we were in Seattle, and the two of you were talking about how nowadays it's shocking that there are middle infielders who don't necessarily have good speed. And back when you guys played, you couldn't play the middle infield unless you had good speed.
It just seemed that way, and it's just definitely changed over the years. When they changed a lot of the criteria for shortstop and second base. Second base definitely went to more of an offensive position, and shortstop still remained a high priority position. But you have a lot of guys playing shortstop today that you can't get 20 stolen bases out of.
Dave Island is back out to the mound. The first time he's done that since the 2nd inning, because Burnett in innings 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 only allowed 2 base runners. So he's at 103 pitches, trying to get through the 8th. Kerry Wood, acquired by the Yankees from the Indians at the deadline, warming up just in case. Willie Bloomquist has scored the only run today. Singled to right with one out in the first, stole second, went to third on an error, scored on Billy Butler's base hit. Grounds it up the middle. Jeter to Cano to Teixeira, double play, and that's the third for the Yankees today. So we go to the ninth in a 1-0 game.
Man, a quick double play. Cano showed some real quick hands on that one. Woo. Yeah, that's it.
That we posed last inning. Brian Bullington will sweat it out in the Royals dugout, and Joakim Soria will get the save opportunity as the Royals try to beat the Yankees 1-0 and earn a split in the series. Soria going for his 26th consecutive save. He'll get Brett Gardner, and then Jorge Posada is going to bat for Francisco Cervelli, and then Derek Jeter. Soria saved the game on Friday after all the rain delays. Gave up 2 hits in the 9th inning, but no runs. That was his 25th consecutive save and a team record 25 in a row. Brett Gardner against Brian Bullington had one of the 2 hits today. Singled with 1 out in the 6th inning and then was caught stealing. Bullington faced the minimum through 7 innings and then got the first 2 outs of the 8th. He walked Marcus Thames, got a fly ball from Curtis Granderson. So faced 1 over the minimum in 8. Bunted back to Soria. Gardner is out number 1. Our Chevy play of the game is the 8 innings from Brian Bullington.
Well, Ryan came out this afternoon with good command of all of his pitches. He could have increased his first pitch strike, but his slider was tight. Did a great job getting his defense involved, and they made the plays for him. And overall, 5th inning without the first hit being on the board by the Yankees. So just pitched with no intimidation and did an outstanding job today. It was almost like Brian Pena knew it was over. When he comes off the mound, he runs out, shakes his hand before he gets in the dugout. So he may have been told that this was going to be it for Bullington. This would be the last inning.
And now Jorge Posada, and he takes ball 1. Posada sat out Thursday's game and then played the last 2 hit a solo home run yesterday and is 1 for 8 in the series. Yankees have been held to 2 hits. And if the Royals can hang on to that, that would be the fewest hits allowed by them this year. They've allowed 4 hits on several occasions this year. The last time being at the Angels on July the 3rd. Two balls and 1 strike on Posada. As far as shutouts go, the Royals have 1. And that was against another Giant. But that was an individual Giant, not a team Giant. That was against Steven Strasburg when Brian Bannister, Robinson Tejeda, and Soria beat the Nationals 1-0. Now the Royals are trying to get it done with Brian Bullington and Soria with Derek Jeter on deck. Posada at the plate, 1 out in the 9th inning.
Well, one thing you like about Joaquin, he goes 2 balls, no strikes, and the hitter's ready for his pitch. He's trying to center his pitch. He comes back with the next pitch on the outside corner. Then he gets Posada to foul the ball over third base. So now you're in this situation here, Ryan, where a lot of pitchers have to throw the ball down the middle. He's got the kind of control that he can throw it to the outside corner and maybe be a ball off the plate and still come out ahead.
Posada is 1 for 2 with a home run against Soria, and now 1 for 3 with a strikeout.
So this is outstanding here. A change up, 3-2. You make a nice pitch on the outside corner. Ball's going down and away. Posada's got to be looking for a fastball, and he's way out front of this change up.
So Soria 1 out away from a save, but right now this is about the Royals getting a win and Brian Bullington getting his first major league victory. And when you are taken in the first round with the first overall pick, you figure you're going to take the express to your first major league win. But it's been a long, winding road for Brian Bullington. Strike 1 to Jeter. 0 for 3 with 3 ground balls to the left side. He singled against Soria in the game on Friday.
Well, maybe this has started something positive for Brian going forward. You know, two straight starts in a row, quality starts, and just kind of build on it from there.
To right field, Mitch Meyer is there. And Brian Bullington gets his first major league win. So it took 20 appearances. It has taken 8 years since he was drafted first overall. And he saves his first major league win for a combined 1-0 shutout over the New York Yankees of all teams.